Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and welcome on into Hazley's Hot Takes. I'm your host, Clint. And in tonight's episode, we're going to be breaking down and previewing UFC 327, which is headlined by the title fight in the light heavyweight division between Yuri Prohaska and Carlos Ulberg. The co-main event features Paulo Costa versus Azamat Murzakanov. Didn't say that right, but you get the point. A couple other good fights throughout the card, such as Cub Swanson's retirement fight, and much more. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And we'll go ahead and get started with our main card opener of Cub Swanson in his retirement fight, taking on Nate Landwehr in the featherweight division. The UFC absolutely hit this one out of the ballpark. With as far as a main card opener goes, there should be almost a guarantee that there'll be fireworks in this one. I would be willing to bet that someone will be bleeding in the first round, absolutely, on this one. Nate Landwehr is historically known for his cardio and ability to keep his foot on the gas pedal throughout the 3 rounds. And Cub Swanson, kind of a do-it-all fighter, if you will, can grapple, can strike, can even do a little jiu-jitsu if he has to. Definitely has the heavier hands of these two fighters here. This one's, as far as the odds go, it's really close. I think Cub Swanson, the last I checked, is a slight underdog, like plus 120 range. But I really think Cub Swanson can get this done. He's got heavier hands of the two. I think he can win the bigger moments between the two. I expect Nate Landwehr to be crazy amped up and full of energy. I wouldn't mind a moment where either of these guys on the mic after the fight will be great. Obviously, Cub Swanson in his retirement fight would have some pulling some heartstrings in that regard because he's been around for a long, long time. And I'm glad the UFC gave him a main card opener slot, just a main card slot in general. But if I had to make a prediction on this one, I'm going to go with Cub Swanson to get this done by TKO. Moving on up the card, we have a light heavyweight fight between Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. This one's great as well. I mean, this card's full of them, but Johnny Walker and well, he's kind of crazy. Let's just put it that way. Johnny Walker is literally insane. And then on the other side with Reyes, I don't know if Dom Reyes. It's hard to predict who's going to show up between the versions of himself, and it's almost as hard to predict on the Johnny Walker side. Johnny Walker comes out, looks amazing at times. Same with Dominic Reyes. It comes out and looks amazing at times, and then other times they both look bad. So I really couldn't pick one on this one. I'll just lean with who I like more between the two fighters, and that's Dominic Reyes. As far as striking goes, I think he's got the advantage, but I do think the kicking department with Walker is going to be a problem. I think maybe the spinning attacks might get one here and there, but I think if Dom Reyes comes out and has a great performance in this one, I could realistically see him putting his name in the title shot hat. Everybody knows that Alex Pereira vacated the light heavyweight division up to heavyweight, so it's kind of wide open. I think the best prospect in the division is Carlos Ulberg, but don't put Dom Reyes out of it just yet. If he goes out and gets a big win over Johnny Walker, then he's right in contention there, in my opinion. And then moving on up the card to a heavyweight bout between Josh Hokett, which I can't really understand this guy, and Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, probably my favorite heavyweight fighter. He's a really good wrestler, has the elbows of like a Mack truck when he hits you on the ground. Josh Hokett, I can't really make sense of this guy. He's a character. We'll just put it that way. I don't know if he's trying to be Hulk Hogan sometimes. I don't know if he's like psychotic sometimes. I'm not really sure. He's had an interesting fight week, to say the least. But on this one, again, odds are really close. I think Curtis Blades is a slight underdog, maybe a slight favorite, but they're not big either way. But just of these two, I cannot in any world, I'm sorry, I'll be biased, but I cannot in any world pick Josh Hokett because I don't really like the act he puts on. Maybe it gets more eyeballs on him, maybe it gets more views, but I just think he's a phony. So give me Curtis Razor Blades to get this one done. We'll say he gets it done by decision here. I think he can get the job done, and definitely control Josh on the mat. I really don't know what to expect with Hokett here. Who knows? He could come out and just make Curtis Razor Blades look bad, or he could come out and just get flatlined. I hope it's the later of the two personally, because it'll take a little steam out of his sail, but I don't know. Moving on up to the co-main event between Azamat Murzakanov. I cannot pronounce his name to save my life. versus Paulo Costa. It's a light heavyweight bout as well. I think I'm just going to say Azamat. Yeah, I think Azamat's the pretty big favorite in this one. But it will be cool to see Paulo Costa up at 205. I think he's officially gave up the 185 pursuit, and I think he's up to 205 for good in that department. 205 is the light heavyweight division. 185 is the middleweight division. But yeah, I can see Azamat just getting the job done here. He'd probably take him down and control him. Is my prediction on that, and kind of take out the explosive firepower that Paulo Costa has. So give me Azamat. Not going to try his last name to win this one by decision. And moving on up to the main event of the evening. Carlos Ulberg taking on Yuri Prohaska in the light heavyweight division. It's a title fight. Carlos Ulberg's first title fight. Yuri's fought like 3 title fights in a row, it feels like, or 3 out of 4. As far as this one goes, Yuri has the better cardio. If this fight goes to 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, I see him having an advantage. Carlos Ulberg is the more cleaner striker and more polished overall as a product in the MMA world. This one's really tough, though. Again, close odds on this one. I think the only fight on the main card that's wide open is Paulo Costa versus Azamat Murzakanov. I can't. I think I've said his last name 4 different ways, but I think that's the only fight on the main card that has wide odds. Everything else is kind of a pick'em, which is really cool, really fun to see. As far as you don't really know who's going to win the fights. But on this one, I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg to get it done. I think he'll win the first couple rounds, and then I think his cardio is not going to wear as much. I'll still give the advantage to Yuri Prohaska as far as the cardio goes, the later it goes, but I think Carlos Ulberg has the cleaner striking and can get the job done more efficiently and effectively. So give me Carlos Ulberg to win this by TKO in round 4 and to be your new light heavyweight champion of the world. This is a new way I do these formats. I do this video. I haven't done it this way before, so the editing is going to be fun, I'm sure. But I appreciate everybody for watching. As always, UFC 327 tomorrow night in Miami should be a doozy of a card, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.